Hello everyone. Today, we're diving into a crash course on the fascinating world of cell biology, focusing on the molecules that form the foundation of life. Welcome to the molecules of cells. Here you'll find a breakdown of today's topics and their corresponding sections, designed to guide you through our discussion. We'll use this as a reference throughout the course. Let's begin with an overview of the molecules found within cells. Life's molecular diversity is based on the properties of carbon. Carbon's ability to bond with four other atoms is the basis for building large and diverse organic compounds. Hydrocarbons are composed of only carbon and hydrogen. Isomers have the same molecular formula but different structures. A few chemical groups are key to the functioning of biological molecules. Hydrophilic functional groups give organic molecules specific chemical properties. A hydroxyl group consists of a hydrogen atom bonded to an oxygen atom. In a carbonyl group, a carbon atom is linked by a double bond to an oxygen atom. A carboxyl group consists of a carbon double bonded to an oxygen atom and also bonded to a hydroxyl group. An amino group has a nitrogen bonded to two hydrogens. The building blocks of proteins, amino acids, contain an amino and a carboxyl group. A phosphate group consists of a phosphorus atom bonded to four oxygen atoms. Compounds with phosphate groups are often involved in energy transfers, as is the energy-rich compound ATP, adenosine triphosphate. A methyl group consists of a carbon bonded to three hydrogen atoms. Cells make large molecules from a limited set of small molecules. A polymer is a long molecule consisting of many identical or similar building blocks strung together. The building blocks of polymers are called monomers. Cells link monomers together to form polymers through a dehydration reaction, which removes a molecule of water as two molecules become bonded. One monomer loses a hydroxyl group, and the other monomer loses a hydrogen atom to form water. As this occurs, a new covalent bond forms, linking the two monomers. Cells not only make macromolecules but also need to break them down. This process, called hydrolysis, is essentially the reverse of a dehydration reaction. The bond between monomers is broken by the addition of a water molecule, with the hydroxyl group from the water attaching to one monomer and a hydrogen attaching to the adjacent monomer. Let's start with carbohydrates. While often associated with energy, carbohydrates also serve important structural roles within cells. Monosaccharides are the simplest carbohydrates. A monosaccharide has a formula that is a multiple of CH2O and contains hydroxyl groups and a carbonyl group. Examples include glucose, fructose, and galactose. Monosaccharides, particularly glucose, are the main fuel molecules for cellular work. Two monosaccharides are linked to form a disaccharide. Maltose is formed from two glucose monomers. Are we eating too much sugar? The WHO recommends that less than 10% of daily calories come from added sugar. Research supports the correlation between obesity, blood sugar levels, and adverse health effects. Polysaccharides are long chains of sugar units. Starch and glycogen are storage polysaccharides, while cellulose is structural and found in plant cell walls. Chitin is a component of insect exoskeletons and fungal cell walls. Now, let's talk about lipids. These molecules are perhaps best known for their role in energy storage, but they're involved in much more than that. Fats are lipids that are mostly energy storage molecules. Lipids are diverse, hydrophobic compounds composed largely of carbon and hydrogen. Fats, triglycerides, consist of glycerol linked to three fatty acids. A fatty acid whose hydrocarbon chain contains one or more double bonds is called an unsaturated fatty acid. A fatty acid that has no double bonds in its hydrocarbon chain has the maximum number of hydrogen atoms attached to each carbon atom and is called a saturated fatty acid. Trans fat is an unsaturated fat linked to health risks. Saturated fatty acids are found in animal fats, while unsaturated fatty acids are typical of plant oils. Scientific studies document the health risks of trans fats. In the 1890s, a process was invented that added hydrogen atoms to the double-bonded carbon atoms of unsaturated fats, producing partially hydrogenated vegetable oils. These new fats had several desirable traits: they didn't spoil as quickly as oils and could withstand repeated reheating for frying. However, new research began to show that the trans fats produced in the process of hydrogenation were an even greater health risk than were saturated fats. Phospholipids and steroids are important lipids with a variety of functions. Phospholipids are structurally similar to fats, except that they contain only 2 fatty acids attached to glycerol instead of 3. Phospholipids are components of cell membranes. Steroids are lipids in which the carbon skeleton contains 4 fused rings. Steroids include cholesterol and some hormones. Cholesterol is a common component of animal cell membranes and is also the precursor for making other steroids, including sex hormones. Anabolic steroids pose health risks. Anabolic steroids are synthetic variants of the male hormone testosterone. Testosterone causes a general buildup of muscle and bone mass in males during puberty and maintains masculine traits throughout life. Because anabolic steroids structurally resemble testosterone, they also mimic some of its effects. Some athletes use these drugs to build up their muscles quickly and enhance their performance. But steroid abuse may cause violent mood swings, depression, liver damage or cancer, and high cholesterol levels and blood pressure. Next up, proteins. These molecules are incredibly diverse and versatile. Proteins have a wide range of functions and structures. A protein is a polymer of small building blocks called amino acids. Proteins are involved in almost all of a cell's activities. As enzymes, they regulate chemical reactions. Proteins are made from amino acids linked by peptide bonds. Protein diversity is based on different sequences of amino acids, which are monomers containing an amino group, a carboxyl group, a hydrogen atom, and an R group, all attached to a central carbon. The R groups distinguish the 20 amino acids, each with specific properties. A protein's functional shape results from full levels of structure. A protein's primary structure is the sequence of amino acids in its polypeptide chain. Its secondary structure is the coiling or folding of the chain, stabilized by hydrogen bonds. The tertiary structure is the overall 3-dimensional shape of a polypeptide, resulting from interactions among R groups. Proteins made of more than one polypeptide have quaternary structure. Last but not least, nucleic acids. The nucleic acids DNA and RNA are information-rich polymers of nucleotides. Nucleotides are composed of a sugar, a phosphate group, and a nitrogenous base. DNA is a double helix, while RNA is a single polynucleotide chain. DNA and RNA serve as the blueprints for proteins, and thus control the life of a cell. DNA is the molecule of inheritance. Lactose tolerance is a recent event in human evolution. The majority of people stop producing the enzyme lactase in early childhood and thus do not easily digest the milk sugar lactose. Researchers have investigated the genetic and evolutionary basis for the regional distribution of lactose tolerance and intolerance. In 2002, a group of scientists determined that lactose intolerance is actually the human norm. It is a lactose tolerance that represents a relatively recent mutation in the human genome. The ability to produce lactase into adulthood is concentrated in people of Northern European descent. Researchers speculated that lactose tolerance became widespread among this group because it offered a survival advantage. Different mutations in DNA have led to lactose tolerance in several human groups whose ancestors raised dairy cattle. In conclusion, the molecules of cells are the building blocks of life, and understanding them is crucial for advancing our knowledge of biology and medicine. Remember, carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and nucleic acids are the biological molecules that are essential to life. Thank you all for your attention. Feel free to ask about anything we've covered in the comments below. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.